We'll see if anyone actually watches these later. Okay. All right, so what I'm doing is I'm switching the bit. There are many different ones, and sometimes they get stuck in use. Just sort of pop them out. What these bits are good for, if you think of a picture frame, the sides of a picture frame, they might have some unique grooves on them, but also something like a cutting board. So a cutting board will have, will have sometimes like a juice groove, right? So that little edge that goes around the side of the cutting board, or the edge of the cutting board itself. Instead of having these sharp angles like the rough wood that you buy at the store, it'll be a little bit softer. So what we're gonna use today is a round over bit. So just the littlest curve. You can pass it around if you want. I'll grab one that's, I like them a little bit bigger. Yeah, so, and that one's a little bit smaller, this one's a little bit bigger. You'll see that rounded edge. What you'll also notice on this bit is that it has a bearing at the top. And what that bearing is a guide for your piece of wood. So this little thing right here, this one doesn't have one. If it doesn't have a bearing, there we go, then you can freehand it, right? So if this is sticking out of the table, you could take your piece of wood, put it on top of it, and carve your name into it. Or you could use the fence here and then guide it along, and you might have a hole perfectly 2 inches off of the edge of your board. When it has this bearing, then you can use the edge of your piece of wood. This is nobody's, right? It's mine now. All right. So you could use the edge of your piece of wood to tell the tool where to cut. So it's going to change this 90-degree corner into a nice round over. All right, so when setting this tool up, we want to make sure that the bit is in line with the table, because otherwise you're going to not have a round over, you're going to have different shapes. So for example, if it's sticking up from the table, instead of just having that perfect rounded bit, you're also going to have a little edge here. Or if it's below the table, it's not going to be a perfect round. You're going to have a little bit of a round and then a little bit of a straight. So I get floor level, see that it's nice and flush. Okay. And then we're good to go. All right, so this one is pretty aggressive push. To turn it on, you gotta make sure it's plugged in. So nice and gentle, nothing too aggressive. All right, operation. So this blade is curving this way. So just like this arrow, we're gonna be pushing our wood against it going the other direction. So right to left, all right? So push it up against it. And then we'll push it down. If you keep going over and over and over again, it shouldn't be any different. It's gonna be the same thing. But you guys can feel a little bit of a difference there. But I kind of feel a little bit of a rougher edge at the top. So to me, that means that it's a little bit below the table surface. So I can adjust that slightly. So the other thing is right here, this little corner. What I would recommend for your tops is to do every single edge, which also means that little bit here. So let me show you how to do that. So right to left, but we're gonna do a U shape going this way. So we're gonna go on. I wanna get that right here, down. So starting on the right, and then going around like so. It's gonna give you that softer edge, and then you'll hit all of these sides. So what we will router is your tabletop, all of the sides. Your legs, you can also do the 4 sides, not the bottoms, right? Not the bottom or top, because you want those to be nice and flat, but just the sides where you might touch them. And then we'll get to the aprons later and we can do that too. So you guys have a few things to do. I'll be at the table saw for anyone that wants to cut your legs, make those 4 cuts. You can be at the router table. You can be standing or tilt the miter saw if needed. Cool, okay.